in this era of Industry 4.0. So through surveys, consultations, validation sessions, and the contributions of the semiconductor electronics industry, the PSF began to take shape, not just as a document, as DDG Nelly was saying, but also as a living framework. It's a living document. So it's not something that we will just file away in the farthest recesses of our drawer, but this has to be reviewed periodically. As you know, especially in semiconductor electronics industry, technology changes very fast. At ayaw natin mapag-iwanan because skills also will have to adapt to those changes. So, next page. So the Philippine Skills Framework is a strategic tool that provides career progression pathways, defines skills and competencies, a guide for training, hiring, and upskilling, including reskilling, a bridge between education, training, and employment. So there's really a need for a future-ready, globally competitive workforce. We all know that, no? And yung Philippine Skills Framework for Semiconductor and Electronics is actually a career compass for workers, okay? Pinapakita yung true north, so to speak. A talent strategy tool for employers para mag-guide ang ating mga employers kung how to manage the workforce with the skills development. A curriculum guide for our educators, HEIs, TESDA, and even DepEd, as well as a policy enabler for government. Next page. Now, who is it for? We have several stakeholders, and we will kind of step you through how they're benefited. For students and workers, it helps understand the job roles, plan careers, and target skills development. Okay. For employers, it's a guide for hiring based on clear standards, hindi lang arbitrary, but clear standards, and upskill existing staff effectivity, Tapos for training institutions naman, aligning courses to what industry needs and global standards. By the way, I saw Attorney Joey walking in, siya yung partner namin sa USAID program na AMDEV, What happened kasi, by the way, thank you for reminding me, nung terminate ni USAID yung program, kasi we were in the middle of developing TRs as well as the PSF. So we could have easily just given up and just like I said, threw away the hard work that's been done. I also wanted to acknowledge pala some of our alliance partners, nandito si Fastech at saka si Makati Business Club. We had about 11 partners including Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But yun nga, nung terminate ang program, naglulumuhod ako kay Joey, sabi, pwede ba ituloy na lang natin to? And so SEIPI, we signed an MOU, na ito-turn over yung work done by AMDEV sa SEIPI, and then yung sunod kong pinagmakaawaan, si DDG Nelly, pwede ba tulungan tayo ng TESDA para ponduhan ito? So, make a long story short, the rest is history. Andito na tayo ngayon sa PSF launching. So, thank you, Attorney Joey. Thank you, DDG Nelly and Sec Kiko. So, for training institutions, we align courses to industry needs and global standards. So, what's important here really is for the training institutions to ask industry, ano ba ang kailangan nyo? Rather than just dictating, kasi ito yung traditional courses, and so this is what we will continue doing. Like I said, the needs of the semiconductor electronics industry evolve. Para yung cellphone, every few months nagbabago, and so do our skills. And lastly, for government, it's to drive workforce development aligned with national priorities. So that's very critical. So ano ba yung aspirations natin dito? One is to develop a future-ready Filipino workforce. Okay. And this would be the technicians, engineers, actually pati operators, technicians, engineers, and even management, kasi nakapaloob yan sa PSF, with the skills and mindsets needed to thrive in Industry 4.0. By the way, yung Industry 4.0, hindi yan static, kaya nga may 4.0 because as we speak, there's already 5.0 and soon to be 6.0. So kaya nga sabi ko, we have to be nimble, we have to be flexible in the skills that we equip our workers with. So From clean room to chip design, Filipino talent will be globally recognized for quality, precision, and innovation. Enable lifelong learning and upskilling, promoting continuous technical training and cross-functional learning opportunities. So learning doesn't stop at graduation, far from it. No? With the PSF, professionals can clearly see what's next, very clearly, what skills to learn, what certifications to acquire, what to pursue, and how to advance in their careers. Okay. As technologies evolve, so should our people. Bridging skills in labor supply and demand. Align educational outputs and training programs with real-time industry needs. Hindi yan static, it's evolving. Ensuring that companies can readily hire competent workers, reducing on-the-job retraining, and increasing productivity. Right skills for the right people at the right time. Strengthening public-private academic partnerships. Foster collaboration among industry leaders, training institutions, and government agencies to develop industry-relevant curriculum, offer internships, apprenticeships, and industry immersion, provide access to state-of-the-art labs and simulation tools. Yan ang kagandahan ng partnership ng HEIs, TESDA, and even soon PBED with industry, because some of this equipment mahirap, mahal. So dinodonate ng mga industry partners natin. So the PSF is proof that we can achieve with government, industry, and academia when we do come together. It's not just a policy, it's a partnership. And as we move forward, sustaining this collaboration will be key. Shared responsibility for shared success. Last but not least, support inclusive growth and national competitiveness. Ensure access to quality technical education and career growth for workers across the country to reduce regional disparity and contribute to national progress. A globally competitive industry powered by locally empowered talent. Now, to reiterate, ano ba yung mga key benefits for the electronics industry? Well, first of all, there's skills alignment. The PSF strengthens alignment between education, training, and industry needs, producing a workforce that is job-ready, technically competent, and responsive to the evolving demands of the electronics sector. Industry competitiveness. The PSF enhances electronics industry's competitiveness by building a highly skilled, tech-driven workforce aligned with global standards and capable of supporting innovation and quality improvement. Workforce development. The PSF empowers the industry by fostering continuous upskilling, reskilling, and career progression, developing a future-ready and adaptable workforce equipped for emerging technologies. Last but not least, a stronger industry, academia, and of course, government collaboration. The PSF acts as a collaborative bridge between industry, academia, and government, ensuring education and training programs are relevant, competency-based, and aligned with the real-world job roles and industry requirements. So my last page will just show you an excerpt from the PSF. It's an eye chart, malabo. But what you will see here, sa baba, at the base, would be the operators. And they have several options as they progress from operator 1, 2, 3, etc. They can either go the technical ladders, the technical skills as technicians or engineers, or as in the management ladder as supervisors or leads. Nung initially, tinapos namin nila, well, Sherwin, of course, yung facilitator, and with DDG Nelly Self, and of course, TESDA DG, sa Kiko. Ano lang yan S&E lang, yung mga engineers at career paths sa semiconductor electronics. Hence, what you see is on the right side. Excuse me. So you have the career path, so from technicians or engineers, you have engineer 1, 2, 3, etc. sa progression. For production engineers, process engineers, or product engineers, I should say. Quality engineers, equipment engineers, integration engineers, and facilities engineers. So all the bases were covered. Okay? But DTI at that time was in the process, thanks E.D. Corey, of updating the electronics industry roadmap. And part of that would be, in addition to the advanced assembly ATP and EMS products, yung IC design. And so we have a fledgling IC design industry. There was a 2016 roadmap, pero walang masyadong nangyayari pa. So ang suggestion ko kay DDG Nelly, tapusin din natin yung PSF for IC design. And I'm glad you agreed. So yung makikita nyo sa left side, and this is the hard work of the subject matter experts and yung mga support ng SNE Industries, dinefine nga yung engineering path sa IC design, which would include circuit design, layout, verification, test, and IC development. Okay? Tama ba, Miles? Okay. And so, binuo natin yan. And on the management ladder naman, sa meron tayong path for supervisors, managers, senior managers, directors, all the way up to general managers or president of the respective operation. So yan yung snapshot ng career path para sa mga workers in the semiconductor and electronics industry. And of course, tatapatan natin yan ng the appropriate skills as well as yung NC levels for PQF alignment. So I was sharing nga with Sec Kiko na from the get-go, what we wanted to do with the PSF for SNE is clearly aligned with PQF. Okay, kaya nga susunod-sunod ako ngayon kay Yusek Tita sa PQF Roadshow para nga explain nga yung PQF benefits naman and how it aligns with PSF. So this is the snapshot. It's a 100-page plus document that will be shared with all of you para makita nyo yung career path progression skills required for the semiconductor electronics industry. With that, I will end. And again, maraming salamat sa Kiko, DDG Nelly, and the whole TESDA team. Thank you for your attention. God bless.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lachica. We are grateful for the long-time fruitful partnership between TESDA and SEIPI. With your efforts, this event is realized. Of course, this momentous event, this milestone will not be complete without hearing some words from TESDA's most valuable secretary, being the lead agency of the Technical Working Group on Talent Development and Innovation under the Semiconductor and Electronics Industry Advisory Council. He will be sharing with us his vision on how we can empower innovation through people. And to inspire our journey in the electronic sector, we are honored to call on the head of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. Please welcome our TESDA Director General, the Honorable Jose Francisco Kiko B. Benitez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I should also start with some greetings, but I won't be as comprehensive. I, of course, would like to, first of all, greet Undersecretary Angel Ignacio of the Office of the Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs. Kayo po ang dahilan kung bakit ito'y natapos sa wakas. Dahil kami po ay utusan ni Secretary Go at ng OSOPEA. Of course, to Undersecretary Ted Gatchalian of the OST, also a board member of TESDA, Commissioner Ethel Valenzuela of CHED, ano pa rin ba, ma'am? Citizen, former USEC, no? Dr. Fita Aldaba of DepEd, official na, diba? DepEd na officially. Edie Dichosa of DTI's Bureau of Investment, and of course, Dr. Dan Lachica of SEIPI. To the industry partners, SEIPI members, and other, industry stakeholders in workforce development, no? and TVET development in general. And of course, the people who actually make it happen, the Deputy Directors General of TESDA, Mr. Galo Glino, Sarge Colombo, Nelly Diliera, Vidal Villanueva, and Ave Tolentino, sila po talaga ang nagtatrabaho. Taga-tayo lang ho ako, tagapagsalita. No. Marami na hong sinabi si Dr. Dachika tungkol sa skills framework na mahirap hong dagdagan pa. Except perhaps to say that the skills framework, which in this case was started by USAID, si Richard is somewhere, where is he? There you are. Hi, Richard. As promised, we are trying to finish it off. No, it is a living framework, as Dan calls it, because it needs to be something that is constantly updated and constantly reviewed as industry and technology itself changes. So what is a skills framework? Really what it means is we isolate, identify the functions, the tasks, and the skills required of a variety of levels of proficiency and mastery in each specific occupation or each specific job or position. From there, the challenge, and this is why Yusek Fita is desperately taking notes and writing down her comments later on. The challenge is to actually put it into the Philippines qualifications framework that in fact is the infrastructure that unites all formal education in the Philippines, from the basic, secondary, tertiary, both formal actually and informal education, in which case TESDA takes part. Malinaw na dahil meron tayong mandato galing sa OSIPEA, USEC, na gawin po ang workforce development or talent plan para sa electronics and semiconductor industry specifically. And for those that are not aware, semiconductors constitute, and EMS, constitute 55% of our manufacturing exports from the country. No? So, malaking bagay po that the Philippines actually has been declining in terms of its market share of semiconductors globally. And in the type of semiconductors that we have been producing, we have also been in decline and doing mostly now legacy semiconductor work. The desire of the government, mandated from the very top, from the office of the president, as a matter of fact, is to improve, protect what we have, and expand. Kaya po parte po ito ng initiative from DTI and the Bureau of Investments dahil ang ating intent is to ensure that this is very much a cornerstone of the industrial policy of the country. So malaki po ang natulong na magagawa ng PSF, kagaya ng sinabi ni Dr. Lachika. It does help the education sector become more flexible, more agile, and most importantly, be industry-driven. No, through the skills framework, we now have a way forward in making sure that we know where we're going, that the workforce component of any industrial roadmap or any industry sector roadmap created, for example, by DTI or by NEDA or even by DOLE, no, has a clear link to the ways in which curriculum is designed, to ways in which micro-credentials are designed and deployed, and that we have clear pathways for individual learners to know where they're going and what kind of career is possible for them. In this specific case, this is a skills framework, as DD Ginelli has already pointed out, that has been industry-driven and industry-led from the very beginning. Therefore, the reason why those of you not, in fact, in semiconductor and electronics are in the room is because at the end of the day, workforce development that is people-driven means what we are launching with SEIPI is a perfect example of what can be done if industry takes the lead, and what can be done when government, whole of government, listens. It's driven by the urgency, of course, of semiconductors, But what we have, and is the most important piece of the painstaking, long work where Sherwin isn't here, but Richard is here, right? That has been done, in fact, is the processes, procedures, mechanism, and USEC funding sources needed to ensure that this very, very important work gets done and gets continued. This is a living framework because it will change, but it is also going to be a stepping stone, no? A step on the ladder that Commissioner Ethel will now bring back to CHED and prepare the ladderized module and credit transfer recognition so we can go USEC FITA from grade 11 and 12 operators to technicians through TESDA training all the way up to higher level degrees and qualifications as demanded by the Integrated Circuit Design Ecosystem and Workforce Development Plan. Lahat ho ito ay sakop po ng ating nilo-launch today. So today is in many ways just the first step to ensure that the workforce development and the ecosystem of TVET and lifelong learning is clear to all stakeholders, that it be industry-driven, but most importantly, that the lessons we have learned about collaboration with industry, about collaboration with other government agencies that generally works in silos, and the learnings that, in fact, when industry drives it, it transcends political circumstances and political changes, ideally. So sa mga industriya po na nandyan, malinaw po ang challenge, for example, to Dr. Liaño, no, na we have to make sure the entire supply chain is part of the textile industry and fashion industry roadmap and its transformation. Handa na ho kami pagkatapos ng pirmahan natin today, no, to make sure that we replicate the success, no, of the electronics and semiconductor industry in creating an industry-driven roadmap and skills framework that the rest of government, whether it be DepEd, TESDA, or CHED, can respond to for the empowerment of each and every Filipino towards a lifelong learning framework that truly will allow the Philippines to move and adapt not only to the fourth, as Dan has already spoken of, but to the fifth and emerging sixth industrial revolution. Kailangan po kayo, USEC TED, ang DOST po kailangan kasama po namin sa enterprise na to, sa initiative na ito, because it needs us to complete the entire ecosystem to make sure that talent and workforce development is in fact skills-based but nimble enough to not only respond but to direct, no, the direction of the revolutions that are coming. So again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for being here. Sana the most important thing you take away in terms of a people-centered workforce development is kayo rin po ang aming aasahan kasi napakalaki ng pressure, napakalaki ng expectation. Pero gaya rin ng sinabi ni Nelly, kung nandyan ho kayo at tayo ay sama-sama, sigurado ho akong kayang-kaya. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you very much, Secretary Kiko, for being an exceptional leader and highlighting the importance of the Philippine Skills Framework. Although it imposes a challenge of responsibilities, it will be possible, no, to conquer these challenges with the support of our government agencies, our industries, and the academe. So at this point, let us take a moment to listen to key stakeholders who are with us as they assure and ensure unity and support in implementing the Philippine Skills Framework for Electronics. From our partners in the government and the industry, allow me to call on first the Senior Advisor of the Department of Education, Dr. Rafaelita Aldaba.
Magandang hapon po, DG Kiko, Dr. Dan, La Chica, all our government officials, representatives from government agencies, from the private sector, colleagues and friends from industry and academe. It is my great pleasure to join in celebrating the launch of the Philippine Skills Framework for the semiconductor and electronics industry. I think this is our 10th PSF so far. Our 7th? 11th. Okay, 11th. Thank you, Didi Ginelli. And let me begin by extending my warmest congratulations to TESDA, to SEIPI, our partner agencies, of course, the support of AMDEV, and all the industry champions who worked tirelessly to bring this vision to reality. This milestone could not come at a more crucial time. The semiconductor and electronics industry is not only the backbone of the Philippine manufacturing, it is also at the very heart of global value chains. But as technologies evolve rapidly under Industry 4.0 and amid the Trump reciprocal tariffs, the real challenge lies in preparing our people with the right skills, competencies, and pathways to succeed. And the skills framework, aligned with the Philippine Qualifications Framework, or PQF, addresses this challenge head-on. The PSF provides a clear roadmap of career progression from technical and engineering roles in IC design, product, process, and quality engineering, all the way to management and leadership functions, as Dr. Dan presented earlier in one of the slides. So it's covering the entire value chain of the semiconductor and electronics industry. And it defines the skills and enabling competencies needed at every Philippine Qualifications Framework level, and serving as a common reference for employers, educators, training institutions, and workers themselves. In doing so, it bridges the gap between what industry needs and what our education and training systems must deliver. The framework also complements and strengthens the semiconductor and electronics roadmap, as the roadmap pushes our industries toward higher value-added activities such as advanced manufacturing, design, and eventually R&D. And the PSF ensures that our workforce is ready to take on these opportunities. It is, in effect, a capital backbone that will allow the roadmap to succeed. Equally important, the framework is aligned with the Philippine Qualifications Framework, and by extension, the ASEAN Qualifications Reference Framework. And this alignment guarantees that the skills of our workers are not only nationally recognized, but are also comparable and portable across the regions. And this strengthens the reputation of Filipino talent as world-class. Colleagues and friends, I, of course, would like to highlight as well what was earlier pointed out by our speakers, that the PSF for electronics is a living commitment to equip our people with the skills of tomorrow, to empower industry with the talent it needs, and to position the Philippines as a competitive and resilient hub in the global semiconductor and Electronics ecosystem. My call to action today is this: let us continue to actively implement the framework. Of course, DG Kiko already instructed us earlier. Binigyan na po tayo ng mga responsibilities, ComEthel, and then of course sa DepEd and to PQF. I fully take, I took down all my notes, Sec, and dagdagan ko lang po. I urge the industry to embed it in your workforce planning. Academe to align your curricula with its pathways. Government to support it through enabling policies, and workers to embrace it as a guide for lifelong learning. Only through our collective effort can the promise of the PSF be fully realized. Once again, my deepest congratulations, and may this framework inspire continued collaboration among government, industry, and academe so that together we can build a future-ready workforce and a stronger Philippine economy. Maraming salamat po, padayon, at mabuhay ang industriya ng electronics at semiconductor at ang mga manggagawang Pilipino.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aldaba. Next to signify their support is the Commission on Higher Education, represented by Commissioner Ethel Agnes P. Valenzuela.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. And to our dear Secretary, Kiko Benitez, our best ever partner from SEIPI, Sir Dan, I think I have to recall that it's barely 30 months since we went to the US to benchmark. We were together, EDCOM, through USA, Dr. Richard Abendan and the team. And I was really wondering, what is this semicon industry that we are really focusing on? Because I think it's very important for us to realize the why, no? The why, bakit. We wanted to be the semicon hub of ASEAN. And I keep on reflecting because prior to joining CHED, I was the education advisor of ASEAN. All the writings are about comparability of our education system. Of course, the link between industries and the academe and the government. And this is real. This is our country. And can we make it? So I was really, really challenged. But every day, as I think about our higher education system and our 5 million students in the higher education institutions, how many are really focusing on engineering, IT? Because this is really our concern. Our concern is we wanted to be the hub of semicon, but do we have the right talents? Do we have the supply? Those are the things that we need to deliver, Secretary Kiko and Sir Dan. But I'm very happy because we've been working hard ever since. No? We have been working on different models. We work with equivalency. We're working on looking at the best flow from TESDA to higher education, and of course, with the help of our institutions. They're here to really assist us. So on behalf of the Commission on Higher Education, I'm very honored to join you. Kanina pa ako excited. I was here 12:30 p.m. Pinicturean ko na yung mga semicon ni Secretary kasi I really wanted to help and make it happen. Kasi tayo talaga is really to make it happen. That empowering the semiconductor and electronics workforce for a future-ready Philippines. Every day, as we wake up, we have our cell phone, we have our laptops. Parang yun yung hinahanap-hanap natin lagi. And then we also go to the medical city, and others. All of these are powered by the brains of modern technology, which we call as the semicon. The chips, it's hardly being recognized, but it fuels everything that we do and even fuels artificial intelligence that we now call it, generative AI, all of these. So the framework is really significant because it will serve as a roadmap, and that roadmap will be the workforce development of our country. Napaka-competitive, no? I always look at the ASEAN countries, and every time I see something new, I will be like restless. For semicon industries, I am very happy to say that we are doing all our best. Last week, we spent workshops time on artificial intelligence, and before Friday, we're able to submit, along with TESDA, DOST, our AI framework and our commitment for upskilling and reskilling Filipinos. It's not just the students, but also the faculty, the administrators that we need to retool. Because we're really addressing our gap, and that is talent. Remember, Secretary Kiko, when we asked the US, what do we lack at the Arizona State University? We asked them, they have presented a lot of semicon concerns and issues. But for us, Filipinos, we wanted to know where can we really put our efforts, no, if we will. And that is actually one thing, one word, but they keep on repeating, talent, 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 right? I still recall that response. So as we are in the education sector, we need to address that. First is we need to invest as well in research and innovation. So for the Commission on Higher Education, we would like to remain at the cutting edge of research and innovation, especially in semiconductor electronics industries. We want to develop talents. We want to equip them with our young engineers and our scientists with the skills to thrive in this ever-changing world from 4th to 5th industrial revolution. And finally, strengthening the supply chain. We need to strengthen the supply chain and to ensure resilience. Everything is changing so fast. We must be resilient. And this is something we would like to promise to Secretary Kiko, that we will work together. All those who are seated here, we are all deeply committed to make it happen. So once again, on behalf of CHED, I extend our congratulations to TESDA. Lagi ako naghahabol kay Secretary Kiko. Lagi siya nauuna for this milestone, and rest assured that CHED will continue to work hand in hand with TESDA and our industry partners, our government officials, and all the stakeholders who are with us today in advancing quality, relevant, responsive education and training to empower our Filipino workforce. Yun lang po, kung hindi tayo magtutulungan, all of these will only be a dream. Our dream to be the ASEAN hub will just be a dream. But if we will work together, we now have the PSF, link it with Semicon, and now we have PQF. Lagi po kami nagmi-meeting. Mas maraming meeting ngayon, ever, because of all our commitments to make it work. CHED, TESDA, DepEd, the trifocalized agencies, parang every day merong meeting. But I'm happy that we are in this situation that we really wanted to help our economy, because this is actually part of the speech of the President. I still recall that during the post-SONA conference, that CHED affirmed its commitment in building a quality workforce through quality education. So today, we are so excited to work with TESDA and with all of you in the electronic sector and semicon. So internship, research, innovation, curriculum enhancement, and making sure that all our micro-credentials are stackable and will have recognition from TESDA and CHED. So, bilisan lang po natin kasi 4 pa lang yung nagawa natin, 3 taong ginawa, Pwede bang fast track lahat yan? So, maraming salamat po. You keep on inspiring us para we can achieve our goal and our dream to be the Semicon hub in ASEAN. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Commissioner Valenzuela. Now for the Department of Trade and Industry Board of Investments, Executive Director, Engineer Maria Corazon Dichosa.
Good afternoon po. To our government principals led by Sec. Kiko Benitez, other colleagues in government and partners in the industry, from the different sectors, actually nakita ko madaming partners dito, no? So thank you for attending this occasion. It is a pleasure to join you in this important event, the launching of the Philippine Skills Framework for the Semicon and Electronics industry. I would like to thank TESDA for taking the lead in this initiative. This launch marks a significant step forward in our shared mission to build a future-ready workforce for the semiconductor and electronics industry. This was mentioned, you may well note that the industry is one of the most dynamic and globally competitive sectors in the Philippines. It accounts for a significant portion of our exports at 39.09 billion or 53.4% of the country's total commodity exports in 2024. So kung imagine niyo lang po, kung bumagsak ang ating electronics industry, ang laki din po ng ibabagsak ng ating exports, and that would affect our economic development and growth. It generates thousands of jobs and continues to attract high-value investments. But as the global landscape evolves, so too must our approach to workforce development. The development for highly skilled professionals in microelectronics, IC design, and advanced manufacturing is growing rapidly, and we must ensure that we have the talent at the level of skills required by our industries. At the Board of Investments, we recognize that talent is the backbone of industrial transformation. This is specifically the reason why we implement the Academe Industry Matching Program, or AIM, which aims to coordinate workforce development initiatives among government agencies and industry partners and implement interventions where necessary. We see the Philippine Skills Framework, or PSF, as a strategic piece of the work by providing a clear roadmap for skills mastery, lifelong learning, and career progression. Since it is now completed, the only way to go is implement it with a whole-of-government approach and industry partners. It would definitely enable our workers to purposefully upgrade their competencies and help employers identify and nurture talent more effectively. We believe the framework to be not just about training, but it's about building a resilient and future-ready workforce. Today marks more than just the beginning of the implementation of the PSF. It marks the beginning of a shared journey between and among us here present today. It is a journey built on trust, collaboration, and the unwavering belief that together we can create something truly transformative. As TESDA launches this initiative today, and for the partners here present express their solidarity and commitment, we manifest that this project is not going to be the work of only one agency, but will be the product of many organizations, many minds, and hopefully many hearts, both the public and the private sectors. In this regard, the Board of Investments stands in support of this initiative. We will continue to help build an ecosystem where learning never stops, careers flourish, employments are generated, and innovation is driven by empowered individuals, thereby fueling industry growth to newer highs and making success happen in the Philippines. So again, thank you po for having BOI in this event, and congratulations to everyone who made this launch possible. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much, Engineer Dichosa. Before we proceed with the calling of those next for the message of support, may I quickly acknowledge DTI Undersecretary Mary Jean Pacheco, former DTI Undersecretary and Chair of Fashion Coalition, Ms. Carissa Evangelista, and Attorney Jose Maria Ochave of Unilab. They will be joining us later on during the mass ceremonial MOA signing. Okay. Now may I request the Undersecretary of the Department of Science and Technology, Undersecretary Teodoro Gatchelian.
Sec Kiko, Dr. Dan, Yusek Angel, Yusek Fita, Commissioner Ethel, our DDGs from TESDA, DDG Galo, DDG Colombo, DDG Nelly, DDG Vidal, and DDG Tolentino. Partners from the different non-government agencies, representatives from the different government agencies, fellow civil servants, ladies and gentlemen. Before I deliver the speech prepared by Sec Rene, I just want to tell you something. Every time the Department of Science and Technology convenes, inviting our state universities and colleges and the academic sector, including private sector, to submit proposals for funding for R&D, we always notice one thing: only a few or none at all proposal coming dealing for semiconductor and electronic industry. Dr. Dan, you're aware of that. You see, the Department of Science and Technology is always for two main factors. One, funding the R&D, conduct research and development to develop innovations. The second one is to come up with the necessary number of our science workforce who will help in all aspects of society, spur economic growth and prosperity. But because of this, when I heard Yusek Ethel saying, we need talent, 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 we agree with you, because this is so far our observation in the field of semiconductor and electronics. Could this be the answer? We can say in unison, yes. Because from here on, we're almost certain that the semiconductor and electronic industry will take off from the ground. And it's good to say we have TESDA who will spearhead this move. The Department of Science and Technology greets you with all the spirit of unity, hope, and shared purpose. Far too long, our country has leaned on our regional neighbors for support in semiconductor and electronics manufacturing. I heard Dr. Dan saying this in one of our programs in DOST. Today, however, the Philippine Skills Framework for the semiconductor and electronics industry stands as an embodiment of hope, carrying a promise of self-reliance and a vision of mastery. On behalf of the Department of Science and Technology, it is with pride and commitment that we stand with you in securing a future where our hands shape not only our own landscape, but offer strength that others may one day look to in the semiconductor and electronic sector. We are one in declaring henceforth that our country has the talent, will soon have enough talent, but more specifically, the will and the now and the structure to excel. At the heart of this vision are our fellow workers whose steady hands keep the industry pulsing and thriving. It is because of them that we dare to dream of a sector sharper and more competitive. And so we join you in this duty to invest in the very people who make it possible. As Semiconductor and Electronic Industries in the Philippines Foundation Incorporated, or SEIPI, reminds us the Philippine semiconductor and electronic industry powers more than, as mentioned by Sec Kiko, 60% of our commodity exports in 2024, outpacing even the giants of BPO. and our OFWs. This triumph is written in the calloused hands, the long hours, and the unwavering excellence of our members, our laborers, our workers. It is to them that we owe not just thanks, but the promise of a future worthy of their effort, one that PSF for the semiconductor and electronic industry carries with it. It will ensure that our skills training remains forward-looking with a curriculum that meets the needs of today and equips us for the demands of tomorrow. This commitment takes on even greater weight when we consider that as the second largest contributor of our nation's manufacturing gross value added in 2024, the semiconductor and electronics industry holds a vast, restless potential waiting to be realized. However, the competition out there, everyone is aware, is fierce. In response, the PSF for the semiconductor and electronic industry will ensure that every component works in perfect harmony, unlocking the pathways for a sharper IC or integrated circuit. The development capabilities, assembly, testing, and packaging processes honed to precision and for original design manufacturing that bears the mark of a Filipino ingenuity on the world stage. And in this shared pursuit, the DOST stands with you on our collective vision, turning possibility into innovation and innovation into enduring progress. DOST is with you in aligning our competencies with international standards, empowering our workforce and the youth not just to participate but lead in the semiconductor and electronics sector. The Philippine Skills Framework for Semiconductor and Electronics Industry brings clarity to this vision. United in purpose, we're shaping a future where our Filipino experts and scientists valued, recognized, and celebrated here and abroad more than it is now. And DOST commits its resources, its knowledge, and its networks to this endeavor. Building on this commitment, we can count on the DOST Science Education Institute scholarship programs. We are ready. We can finance our would-be experts and scientists. And along this program, actually, we have asked the passage of the Balik Scientist program, which intention is to lure back our scientists working abroad in this field. Sad to say, Kiko, up to now, only a few of them returned to our country and are already working in this industry. Both undergraduate and graduate levels, we offer a scholarship to build a critical mass of globally competitive and highly skilled scientists that are ready and available to respond to the needs of this particular industry. We are cultivating the next generation of professionals who will drive the semiconductor and electronics industry forward. Scholars in physics, mathematics, material science, nanotechnology, electrical engineering, and electronics engineering, among other vital fields, are already preparing to enter the industry. We have a number of scholars today working it out for their masters and PhDs abroad, ready to transform it when the time comes. They will become the nation's strongest human capital, capable, committed, and future-driven. And through the Philippine Skills Framework for the semiconductor and electronics industry, we can reinforce this vision by laying the groundwork for a future that will elevate our national landscape to the industry's highest and farthest frontiers. Complementing these efforts, we look to the DOST Advanced Science and Technology Institute, or ASTI, that operates the Electronic Product Development Center, state-of-the-art one-stop facility providing comprehensive support to the electronics industry through its services in electronics research and development, manufacturing and testing engineering. It enables various stakeholders, ranging from the academe, individuals, startup companies, small and medium enterprises, government institutions, and private industries to transform innovative concepts into tangible, high-value products. EPDC provides electronic products testing services aligned with international standards and performs rigorous compliance testing and electromagnetic compatibility, product safety, and restrictions of hazardous substances. Thus, ASTI shares the same vision that locally developed and produced electronic devices which are reliable, safe, and compliant with government and global regulatory benchmarks. Building on this, aligned with the call to empower the semiconductor and electronic workforce, EPDC delivers technical consultation and specialized training programs that strengthen local expertise. For instance, we are proud to share with you today that it has successfully conducted intensive training on PCB design, fabrication, soldering to TESDA in support for the upcoming World Skills ASEAN Manila 2025 competition, scheduled next week to be held at the World Trade Center. EPDC took pride in preparing the Philippine delegates who will represent our country, ensuring that our Filipino talent is equipped with the skills required on the global stage. Taken together, this initiative shows our agency's commitment with you in advancing the Philippines' semiconductor and electronics sector. We provide infrastructure and services, and by developing the current and future skilled workforce that will drive the future innovation, ultimately by equipping our engineers, our technicians, and innovators with technical expertise and world-class facilities, the DOST through the DOST SEI and ASTI is ready to lend its hand to the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority. Together with the Philippine Skills Framework for the semiconductor and electronic industry and the full support of DOST, we can nurture an industry where our people's skills are valued. The learning has a place in the world, and that their future is a promise worth preparing for. Congratulations to TESDA, congratulations to CHED, congratulations to DepEd. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Undersecretary Gatchalian. Now let me call on stage the Country Manager of Analog Devices, Mr. Miles Ramirez, for his message.
Good afternoon to everyone. I'm very pleased and enthused, actually, to see the whole government together with the industry and academia come together and do a bold move to fix a perennial problem, particularly in this industry. And by itself, everyone coming together is already an accomplishment. As a multinational company, Analog Devices has been here in the Philippines for the last 43 years. And we have built a world-class test facility in Cavite. But midway, we actually expanded beyond our manufacturing excellence and into advanced engineering like IC design. And we are now developing semiconductor products for ADI. Some are leading edge for the global market. And this was done by the skills and talent of the Filipinos. And I think it's also good that Analog Devices in the headquarters allowed this company here located in the Philippines to be led by Filipinos. As we transition to the age of AI, we do need to continue evolving our skill sets and capabilities to be competitive to the semiconductor industry, which will be more than 1 trillion by 2030. And that is the big opportunity. This year, by end of this year, the semiconductor industry is around 700 billion. The Philippines is sharing maybe around 45% only of that. So there's a big opportunity for us to play in this game. That is why the industry, the government is pushing a lot for this industry here. So I'd like to congratulate DG Secretary Kiko Benitez and the whole TESDA team, the various government agencies here who are here, academic partners, SEIPI, and our industry colleagues for all the efforts and culminating to this launch of the Philippine Skills Framework for Semiconductor and Electronics industry. Again, it is a bold move and a much needed refresh and update to an industry that is seeing an accelerated shift into more advanced skill requirements, which is driven by global trends like Industry 4.0 or 5 or 6, and AI. Analog Devices Philippines believes this is the right thing to do, especially now that we want to reinvigorate the industry and with the government's help, putting it as top priority. ADI Philippines will continue to collaborate with the government and academe to make this initiative successful and provide meaningful opportunities for the outcomes. The Filipino talent is our main competitive advantage, and I encourage all stakeholders here to continue to invest in upskilling and elevating our competencies to take on higher value jobs. Congratulations again and mabuhay.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Now to express the support of Cryotech Philippines Incorporated to the PSF for Electronics, may I request Director Maria Teresa Bermudez.
Secretary Benitez, Dr. Dan Lachica, leaders of the government agencies, USEC Angel, NASHO, leaders of the industry, Mr. Perry Ferrer, Mr. Bing Biera is not around, our partners from the private sector, Ms. Jopin Romero from PISAC, all the members of the industry, from the academe, our colleagues, friends, magandang hapon po. First of all, I'd like to congratulate TESDA, SEIPI, and the other government agencies involved in making this event possible. I know that it's been so many years that it was prepared, as it was planned, and DG Nelly mentioned about the different participants for this launching of the Philippine Skills Framework. The initiative is both significant and timely. As we continue to strengthen our industry, we recognize that the skill requirements are constantly evolving, varying across roles, across levels, and across the many facets of our operations. With the skills framework, training institutions, TVIs, academic partners, and even internal learning and development departments in the different companies are now guided by a unified reference. Maraming salamat po, because we now have a reference that can be used nationwide and not just for a particular company. For those who do not know who Createch is an industry-based learning services provider intended initially for the semiconductor and electronics industry. Our journey with SEIPI started in 2014 under a different company when we were training production operators. Around 5,000 operators were trained at that time. And then we evolved into Createch when the need for the implementation of work immersion in 2017 was addressed. And with the kindness of the board of directors of Createch, we set up a facility in Laguna Technopark, and we opened the doors for the educational institutions, specifically the basic education or grade 12 students. And at this time, we already have trained around 80,000 students, grade 12 students that are already graduates, and we are continuing to do that. And we are happy that they are now taking paths toward their engineering and related courses, strengthening STEM, STEAM, or STREAM program in the country. And we are not stopping there. We have also implemented the different TESDA programs, making sure that the TESDA curriculum has the touch of industry competencies and tools and processes and systems that will make the graduates ready for employment in the industry. This ensures that the competencies we develop are not only relevant to company needs, but also aligned with industry goals and ultimately with the broader objectives of our country. We also know that the semiconductor and electronics sector is one of the fastest moving industries in the world. The pace of advancement is fast, and it directly impacts the way we work, the tools we use, and the skills we require. That is why this framework is an important achievement. It's so important, it allows us to stay agile, as the Secretary mentioned, to anticipate changes and to prepare our workforce for the demands of tomorrow. But equally important, it reminds us that this is not a one-time effort. It requires constant updating, continuous dialogue, and active partnership between the industry leaders, TESDA, and other relevant government agencies to keep it alive and responsive. On behalf of Createch Philippines, I express our full support for the Philippine Skills Framework implementation, and if our assistance is ever needed, you can always count on us to be an active partner in its continuing development, continuing improvement, and implementation. Once again, congratulations po sa TESDA at maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bermudez. Allow me also to acknowledge Dr. Doji Maestrecampo, President and CEO of Mapua University. Okay. Last but definitely not the least, to express their support is the EMS Group of Companies, represented by its very own Chairman and CEO, Mr. Perry Ferrer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Maayong hapon sa tanan. And Secretary Benitez, good afternoon. Our President Dan La Chica. I think everything that needs to be said was said. What I will mention is what is at stake for us entrepreneurs in associations. This milestone, what is happening, I'll tell you, what is happening in our industry, we're being cannibalized. Right now, our workers are leaving. I have a partner, 400 technicians in the first 5 months of the year, 200 engineers until June. Our goal, our wish, with the help of Secretary is, together with the ones na bigyan ng trabaho, tayo lahat, let's create a pipeline. Let's create a supply chain of human resource skilled workers. The Philippines, one of its demographic assets is our youth, 25 years old as an average. We cannot stop our workers from leaving. In fact, God bless them. They will be earning more, they'll be remitting more, but it is a mistake for us, not only in the semiconductor and electronics industry, but in all other industries, especially in construction that's also leaving, not to develop the workers. So I hope with this program, we can create the pipeline. And part of our advocacy is, do you know the per capita, the GDP per capita of the Philippines is only $3,900. Vietnam, 5 years ago, was $3,500. This year, they're $4,200 already. It's the quality of work. It's the skills and the quality of work that attract investments. If we develop our workforce, if we develop our young people with the skills in par with the 21st century skills that is needed, I am sure we in the industry, and I also represent other industries, will be able to attract advanced manufacturing, AI-driven manufacturing here in the Philippines. So sa amin, pag umalis at na-pirate ang mga empleyado namin, we thank them for their service. This framework will help us in the industry to be more competitive because we are stuck now training because the input are not to the caliber of our required skills. But with the program that you have, Secretary, makakatulong kayo to lessen the training here in our companies, not only in the semiconductor and electronics, but several industries. Kaya kami tuwan-tuwa dito that now, finally, we'll see the step 2 of what we think could be a solution to the shortage of skills in our workforce. We don't have a shortage of warm bodies. We have a shortage of skilled workforce. And last night, I got a very surprising email, no one mentioned from where, that there is an Administrative Order 36. Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. It's public na. It's also part of workforce development. We have TESDA here, we have CHED, we have DepEd, who are all part of this Administrative Order Technical Working Group. We have DMW is going to be there. We have Department of Labor, because we heard it, a whole of government approach on how to bring the quality of life of every Filipino worker. Kaya nandoon. And there's another agency, hirap ako magsabi, NEDA, who is also part of that. Our goal here in the industry, our goal in the Business Association is to lift our Filipino workers. We do not want to get into discussions of minimum wage. This program that what we are launching now will go beyond the discussion of minimum wage, because currently in our industry and SEIPI and some other industries, we pay by the skill. If you have the skill If you have multiple skills, we will pay you because it makes our life easier and makes our life more competitive. With that, from our group, our commitment from our industry is to be able to collaborate together and work together to provide you with ito ang kailangan namin na skills. Yun ang utang namin sa inyo, and we look forward to working with TESDA. We look forward to working with DepEd, CHED, DOST, and the newly formed group in the AO36. Maraming salamat and congratulations again.
Thank you, Mr. Ferrer. No, we would also like to acknowledge po the presence of Executive Director Claire Toralba of PTTC. Again, to all of you who have expressed their continuous usual support to this kind of initiatives, we are forever grateful to you all. Thank you very much po. A round of applause to everyone. At this juncture, to visualize the Philippine Skills Framework for Electronics, let us watch this video. Thank you very much for your applauses. No? With that, our ideas align as the PSF for Electronics marks a pivotal step in aligning the country's workforce development with the evolving demands of the global electronics industry. At its core, the PSF for Electronics is both a strategic blueprint and a practical guide. It lays out two distinct career pathways, technical and engineering and management, each with clearly defined roles, skills, and progression levels. From product and process engineering to quality assurance and facilities management, the framework captures the full spectrum of competencies needed to thrive in electronics manufacturing and innovation. On the management side, it emphasizes strategic oversight, operational leadership, and talent development. Now for the most awaited part of this program, join us as we launch the Philippine Skills Framework for Electronics. To officially sign the Philippine Skills Framework for Electronics, may I request Secretary Kiko, representing TESDA as the lead agency of the TWG for Semiconductor and Electronics Industry Advisory Council, together with Dr. Dan Lachica, to digitally sign the PSF for Electronics through our interactive monitor here on stage. May I also request to stand at witness Dr. Aldaba, Commissioner Valenzuela, Engineer De Chosa, Yusek Gatchalian, Yusek Pacheco, Mr. Ramirez, Ms. Bermudez, Mr. Ferrer, Undersecretary Ignacio, Ms. Fe Avila, and also the TESDA Deputy Directors General. We will also be having a quick photo op together with you. May I also request on stage Ms. Jopin of PISAC to join us on stage also. To our dignitaries here on stage, please remain on stage as we will be having a quick photo opportunity. Okay, everyone, please ready your beautiful smiles. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Philippine Skills Framework for Electronics. Thank you very much to our dignitaries. You may now take your respective seats. Thank you very much, po. To close the first part of our program, please welcome the Undersecretary for the Office of the Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs, Undersecretary Angel Ignacio.
Thank you, Gio. Secretary Kiko Benitez, colleagues in government, industry leaders, ladies and gentlemen, today's event has been a meaningful gathering, underscoring our shared commitment to strengthen the semiconductor and electronics industry. As we close the launch of the Philippine Skills Framework for the industry, let us reflect on its significance. More than a strategic initiative, this framework embodies our resolve to build a highly skilled workforce in one of our most vital and dynamic industries. By promoting skills mastery, continuous learning, and clear career progression, the PSF equips our people with the tools, knowledge, and confidence to compete in emerging markets. It advances the goals of the Philippine Development Plan, reinforces our manufacturing base, generates high-value jobs, and supports our vision of a competitive, adaptable workforce ready to excel on the world stage. The theme of this event, Empowering the Semiconductor and Electronics Workforce for a Future-Ready Philippines, truly captures the direction we are taking. As the country's top export sector and key investment priority, the semiconductor and electronics industry is crucial to our national growth. That is why President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. established the Semiconductor and Electronics Industry Advisory Council, chaired by the Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs, Frederick Digo, to guide the industry roadmap with a strategic focus on assembly, testing and packaging, or ATP, advanced ATP, EMS, and IC design. Secretary Go and our office have also been engaging with stakeholders here and abroad, and we remain firmly committed to addressing challenges to ensure the industry's sustained growth. Under President Marcos Jr.'s administration, we are laying the foundation for an innovation-led, investor-friendly, and future-ready economy. With bold reforms such as the Create More Act, which offers 14 to 40 years of generous fiscal incentives, we are making it easier for investors, companies, and partners to expand, thrive, and succeed in the country. Our mission is clear. Every action we take and every decision we make must be anchored on our ultimate goal that by 2030, the Philippines will be recognized as a reliable global partner, producing $70 billion in semiconductors, assembling $40 billion in electronics, and delivering world-class IC design services. This vision rests on building a competitive, resilient, and sustainable semiconductor and electronics ecosystem, one that attracts strong investments and creates high-quality jobs for Filipinos. As Sec Kiko rightly pointed out earlier, industry and whole of government working together. This is our aspiration, and I hope everyone in this room shares this future for our nation. Filipinos are already powering chips all over the world. It's about time we invest in that power and let it drive us forward and upward. No more falling behind. We want to lead the pack. Together, let us work closer to position the Philippines as a major player in the global value chain, driving innovation, generating jobs, attracting investments, strengthening our economy, and building a better, brighter future for our people. Thank you and congratulations once again to everyone who made today's launch possible.
Thank you, Yusek Ignacio. No? Please fasten your seatbelts and stay on your own respective seats as we will be proceeding with the second part of our program later on. No? Now that we have officially launched the PSF for electronics, we will proceed with the second part of this afternoon's program, the ceremonial signing of Memorandum of Agreement with the National Industry TVET Boards. To host the next part of the event, allow me to turn the mic to my ever-beautiful colleague, Ms. Gav Herrera.
Hello, thank you so much, Sir Gio, and hello everyone. Ayan. From one milestone to another, it is my pleasure to guide you into the next highlight of the program, the ceremonial signing of the newly established National Industry TVET Boards. I cannot stress enough how this industry, especially the Industry TVET Boards, are very important with us, with TESDA. These boards work hand in hand with us in developing and updating, of course, our training regulations, ensuring that the programs remain relevant and responsive to industry needs. Well, as we have witnessed earlier, the Philippine Skills Framework for Electronics, which was developed in collaboration with our ITB for Semiconductor, SEIPI, is just one example of the transformative work that these partnerships make possible. That is why TESDA is truly grateful to have our valued industry partners here today, despite, of course, of their very demanding schedules. And so, without further delay, let us proceed to the highlight of this segment, the Memorandum of Agreement signing. For today, the following NITBs will be formalizing their partnership with TESDA. We will start with fashion, and then furniture, health, supply chain and logistics operations, last mile delivery subsector. And with that, it is my honor to invite at the center of the stage our esteemed leader and the steadfast supporter of the NITBs, ladies and gentlemen, Secretary Jose Francisco Kiko B. Benitez. May I introduce our first National Industry TVET Board for Fashion Subsector with its convener, the Philippine Fashion Coalition or PFC. The PFC is a national-wide alliance of fashion industry practitioners representing garments and accessories design as well as all aspects of design related to fashion, textiles, and it also serves as a business support organization that aims to be a unifying and driving force for creating a positive economic environment for the Philippine fashion industry. For Fashion ITB, may I call up on the stage Chairperson of the Philippine Fashion Coalition, Ms. Carissa Cruz Evangelista. As witnesses, may I call on Director Julius Leaño, the Executive Director of the Philippine Textile Research Institute or PTRI. Hi, sir. And Ms. Dayan Moreno Mempin, the founder of Katha Pilipinas. Our convener, Ms. Carissa Cruz Evangelista, is the current chairman of the Philippine Fashion Coalition, the first national business support organization for the fashion industry. She served as the Assistant Secretary and later the Undersecretary of the Regional Operations Group at the Department of Trade and Industry. She is the Creative Director and owner of Beatriz, a global accessories brand based in the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, to give her message, please give a warm round of applause for Ms. Carissa Cruz Evangelista.
Hi, good afternoon. Secretary Kiko Benitez, USEC, to USEC Angel, Ignacio, to the director, the deputy director generals who are present today, especially USEC Nita De La Terra, who we are working with for this TVET project, USEC Fita Aldaba, and our directors from government who are present today, like USEC Pacheco. I also would like to greet all the semiconductor leaders and stalwarts who are present today, as well as our members of the and heads of associations, and our SOFA director, Ms. Mads Constantino. Thank you for joining us. On behalf of the Philippine Fashion Coalition, we also have our partners here today who I should acknowledge also, our ever-supportive Director Julius Leaño and our Katha representative, Diana, who will be signing and she will also be supporting our endeavors for the fashion industry. Thank you. On behalf of the Philippine Fashion Coalition, the first national business support organization for the fashion industry encompassing designers, fashion educators in schools, textile and artisan craftspeople, creatives in fashion, we would like to thank TESDA, and especially Secretary Kiko Benitez and Deputy Director General for TVET Partnership and Community-Based Programs, Nelly De La Terra, and their staff and officers for this much-needed MOA and partnership with our PFC coalition and our beloved fashion industry. We had met Secretary Kiko when he was a huge advocate for the creative industry, working with Congressman Tof de Venecia with the ACCBIB block in Congress. We look forward to our collaboration with TESDA, with training for businesses, TVET standards in school-based, center-based, community-based, and enterprise-based in businesses in MSMEs and factory-based businesses. Grateful thanks to Emmy Englis and of the Philippine Women's College, Davao, and Amina Aranas Alunan of SOFA, our PFC school heads, represented by Director for Academic Affairs of SOFA, Mads Constantino. For our PFC schools, we have 7 in total, which also includes LaSalle. We also have other schools nationwide that are working with us, that will be working with our programs with TESDA. And we will integrate the programs also working with CATA. We hope to equip our MSMEs nationwide with business skills. Aside from business skills, we hope to upskill in coordination with the other industry partners that we have to upgrade our national standards for our workers in fashion for both MSMEs and in factories. The creative industry reached a high of 1.72 trillion in 2023, representing 7.1% of the country and our GDP. And according to the Philippine Statistics Authority, it experienced a 6.7% growth. Our industry is included under the subsector of design, of which fashion, textile is part of, and we also have crafts. We also have culinary and film and music, aside from many others that provide 7.26 million jobs. Earlier, Mr. Perry had spoken about how important it is to look forward and prepare the pipeline of the workers that are needed, not just for the local industry, but also the workers that are going outside. This would be the same for our fashion industry, wherein we do not just see the development of more factories through working with TESDA and working also with BOI, but we also hope to export our design services and also work on the development of factories, of textile factories locally. And this is something that we dream of and hope for, because the backbone of any society actually resides with its textile and its people. So we hope to develop our skills in the development of anything related to the growing and harvest of textile and the services that are needed by our workers, both for factories and also for the MSME sector. We hope to see in 2030 many millions of jobs generated through the help of TESDA and its partners, and we acknowledge the great work and creativity of Secretary Kiko Benitez, and we appreciate his help in including our sector as one of the rising sectors, not sunset sectors, of the Philippines. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Carissa, for that speech. May I request our Deputy Directors General, DDG Nelly, DDG Gallo, is DDG Vidal still with us? Of course, DDG Sards, to please come up on stage. We also have, I suppose we have DDG Avelino somewhere in our area. Please come up on the stage po, so that we can stand witness to the MOA signing for our Fashion ITV. This MOA aims to provide more strategic policy reforms in TVET, aligned with the fashion sector requirements to address the employment and job skills mismatch. Also part of the NITB for fashion are the Fashion Institute of the Philippines, SOFA Design Institute, Philippine Lapidary and Jewelry Artists Association Incorporated, Association of Negros Producers, CATA Pilipinas, PTRI, and other associations constituting a board and diverse sectoral base. And ladies and gentlemen, the MOA for the Fashion ITB is now officially signed. May I now invite the principals and our witnesses to join us for the photo opportunity. Kindly show the copy of the MOA to our photographers. To the side po yung ating mga MOAs so that it won't cover your beautiful faces. Also, we'd like to call and request the other members of the Fashion ITB to join us on stage for this next photo, please. Calling Director Patrick, Director Iros of Philippine Fashion Institute, Miss Madeline of SOFA, Miss Bang, and others from the PTRI, Miss Angel from EFC. We have President Jackie and others from the Fashion ITB. Kindly join us on stage for a photo opportunity po. Thank you very much. Thank you, USEC Carissa, Ms. Diane, and Director Julius. You may now go back to your seats. To our dear DDGs, kindly take the seat po at the side of our stage prepared for you. Thank you very much. Yes, meron pa po tayong four. Ayan, for our next ITB, we have the Furniture Industry TVET Board with its convener, the Pampanga Furniture Industries Foundation, or the PFIF. The PFIF is an organization composed of manufacturers and exporters in the Philippine furniture and furnishings sector, which is based in Pampanga. Also part of the ITB is the Chamber of Furniture Industries and the Cebu Furniture Industries Foundation. May I request our friends from the furniture industries from PFIF? We have the representative of President Paulo Feliciano. We have the Internal Vice President of PFIF, Interior Designer Celine Lucille Repato, and as witness, we have the CFIP President, Ms. Evangeline Fernandez. Please come up on stage. Please join the Secretary on our table po. May I request po, representing our lead convener is Ms. Celine Lucille Repatel. Ladies and gentlemen, give her a round of applause for her message of commitment. Hi, Ms. Celine. May I request you for a message from Sir Paulo, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Pampanga Furniture Industries Foundation, the Chamber of Furniture Industries of the Philippines, and Cebu Furniture Industries Foundation, we express our strong commitment and full support as the designated sector lead convener for the Furniture Industry Board. We acknowledge the great responsibility entrusted to us and recognize the critical role that human resource development plays in ensuring the growth and sustainability of the furniture sector across the country. As part of our strategic direction, we aim to strengthen and capacitate the human capital of the furniture industry nationwide by actively registering and implementing skills development programs with TESDA. These programs will serve not only to enhance the technical competencies of workers, but also to ensure a pipeline of skilled labor responsive to the evolving needs of the sector. We also commit to lobbying for policies that support and strengthen human capital development within the furniture ecosystem. Central to this advocacy is the integration of job-generating mechanisms that allow our skilled graduates to find meaningful employment and business opportunities. One initiative is the proposal to position TESDA-trained individuals and cooperatives as potential workforce providers to supply furniture requirements for government offices. thereby creating direct linkages between training outputs and actual market demands. To further advance this mission, PFIF will broaden its convergence efforts by working closely with national local partners, agencies such as the DILG and DOLE, and various LGUs. Through the collaboration, we aim to provide sustainable support systems through the identification of beneficiaries and establish more inclusive job opportunities, thereby nurturing a vibrant furniture and creative industry ecosystem. This is indeed a challenging commitment. It's easier said than done, but we remain confident through unity and close collaboration with TESDA and all our partners. You know, as they say, basta sama-sama sa TESDA, kayang-kaya. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Celine. And also, please give our regards to Sir Paulo. And now, may I request our DDGs to please come to the center of the stage to join us for the MOA signing. And with that, we would like also to call our friends from the furniture industry to join us to witness the ceremonial signing, please. Our friends from PFIF and CFIF, pwede po ba tayong sumama na rin dito sa stage? Okay, thank you very much. Now that the signing is completed, the Furniture ITB partnership is now official. Let us commemorate this moment with a group photo. Thank you very much to our partners from the furniture subsector. You may now go back to your seats. All right, one more photo po. Special request of our friend from PFIF. All right, thank you very much to our partners from the furniture subsector. Yan. And of course, our DDGs, kindly take your seats at the side of our stage. And now we move on to the next sector. From creative, we now jump to our health subsector. As the lead convener, we have Unilab Education Incorporated. The Unilab Education Incorporated is the educational holdings company of the Unilab Group that aims to enable social mobility through education by preparing students to have enriching careers in the field of healthcare. So we have with us Attorney Jose Maria A. Ochave, our principal signatory. Sir, would like to ask you for a message of commitment, please. Thank you.
Our beloved Secretary, TESDA Secretary Kiko Benitez, TESDA Deputy Directors General and officials present, our fellow National Industry TVET Board members, fellow campaigners to ensure that education leads to relevant career pathways. Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. On behalf of Unilab Education and the Unilab Group, I would like to express our gratitude to TESDA for allowing us to contribute to and be part of the national effort to address the problem of mismatch between skills and jobs. I think arguably there is no other sector where we feel really the shortage in terms of the so-called pipeline than the healthcare sector, not only because our healthcare workers, not just nurses, but the entire health workforce is there's so much is very attractive to to other countries, particularly those with aging populations, but also as we unfold our universal healthcare here, we will need more and more healthcare workers in the field, skilled ones at that. Alam niyo po, when we speak of healthcare, most of the time we talk about nurses, most of the time we talk about doctors, but the healthcare industry, the healthcare sector is much more than just doctors and nurses. You know, we need paramedics, we need biomedical technicians, we need respiratory specialists, we need a lot of skilled workforce in the healthcare sector. So it's not just doctors and nurses. Today, as we signed the Memorandum of Agreement, we affirm our commitment to our shared mission of equipping the current and future generations of Filipinos with the skills needed to enable them to take advantage of career opportunities here and abroad. We share with everyone here the belief that education is a key driver of social mobility. When learners gain access to world-class training, and this we intend to do, and real workplace opportunities, they are not only able to transform their own lives, but also the lives of their families and the communities they serve. This is why we embrace fully the responsibilities associated with being the designated National Industry TVET Board for the health sector. Together with TESDA and our partners in education and industry, we commit to work to ensure that Filipino workers are future-ready, competitive, and values-driven, so that they may thrive in any environment where their skills are needed. The Unilab Group has always been anchored on partnerships, relevant and long-term collaboration with individuals, companies, institutions who share our optimism and determination in building a society that is much better, much kinder than the one we have inherited. Hence, we shall call on everyone, including those of you here, whether from healthcare, education, or related industries, to come and partner with us in TESDA in this collective effort. Together, we will build a robust and responsive workforce with the skills, attitude, and sense of mission that will propel the country into a progressive future. We know that this task will not be easy. Hindi po ito magiging madali. But as Father Roque Ferriol said, huwag nating tanungin kung mahirap ang isang bagay. Tanungin natin kung ito ay mahalaga. We are all here today because we know that what we want to accomplish is important. Wala nang halaga pa sa mitiing mapabuti ang buhay ng bawat Pilipino at wala nang halaga pa sa kinabukasan ng bayan. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ochave, for that message. Also, we have Mr. Rene B. Ledesma to stand as witness and to represent Dr. Noel M. Cortez, PhD. And with that, I would also, again, would like to request our DDGs to join us to stand as witness to this Memorandum of Agreement signing ceremony. The National ITB for Health sector is composed of Unilab Education Incorporated as the lead convener. The initial plan of the NITB for Health will be to focus on elevating the employment value of Filipino workers in pharmaceutical manufacturing. All right, the Health National ITB MOA is now officially signed. Let us capture this meaningful moment with a group photo. Please flash your best smiles while holding the MOA, please. Thank you very much, Attorney Joey, and to our witness. And thank you very much to our DDGs. Kindly take your seats one more time. Next is our National ITB for Supply Chain and Logistics Operation with Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines, or SEIMAP, as the lead convener. The SEIMAP is composed of leading manufacturers, logistics providers, and retailers, actively promotes global competitiveness by engaging with stakeholders across public and private sector. May I respectfully invite Ms. Corazon Curay, of course, I have here with me right now for the message of support.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Secretary Kiko Benitez, I will do away with the pleasantries. Of course, I would like to also acknowledge the DGs, the USECs, the whole of government leaders, and the whole of industry leaders here. On behalf of Supply Chain Management Association of the Philippines, or SEIPI, and of the other organizations that are part of the National Industry TVET Board for Supply Chain and Logistics Operations, I am proud to say that we have taken one further step in making our country's supply chains world-class. Supply chain and logistics is the backbone of any competitive economy. Sinong hindi nakakaalam ngayon ng supply chain and logistics? We have here our supply chain and logistics champion, the Undersecretary of Undersecretary DTI, who worked tirelessly. Kaya palagi ko, pagkatapos ng event, meron na kayong nabuo ni UC Caldawan na proyekto na for execution na lang. Ganyang kasipag si UC Jean. As the Philippines makes a bid for a stronger, more responsive, and more proactive economy, one that brings prosperity and opens possibilities to Filipinos of all stripes, whether they may come from, it is important that we boast our supply chain capabilities so we can continue supporting new products, new initiatives, and new innovations to greater heights. We commit, or SEIPI commits, as the NITB for Supply Chain and Logistics Operations, to work tirelessly, pero hindi namin mapapantayan ang aming tireless USEC, USEC Jean, not just to expand supply chain education, but to improve access to best practices in supply chain management to businesses and entrepreneurs across the country. We vow to play our part in building an inclusive economy, creating new opportunities, and improving quality of life for Filipinos. We thank TESDA, of course, for allowing us all to take part in this meaningful initiative. Together, we can make further strides, not just in our industry, but in the development of beloved Philippines. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Curay. Ayan po. You may join the Secretary. And of course, for this signing, we are joined by USEC Jean Pacheco po. And again, ayan po. Please take your seat po, ma'am. And would like to request the DDGs, again, to please join us for the MOA signing. This strategic partnership between TESDA and the NITB for Supply Chain and Logistics is led by SEIPI as the convener, aims to advance industry-responsive TVET programs that enhance workforce competencies across sectors. And the Supply Chain and Logistics Operations ITB agreement is now formally signed. Let us capture the significant step forward with a photograph. Thank you very much, Ma'am Curay. And to our DDGs, kindly go back to your seats. USEC Mary Jane, kindly stay on the stage po muna for the next ITB. All right, last but not the least, we recognize our National Industry TVET Board for the last mile delivery subsector represented by the Private, Express, and Messengerial Association of the Philippines, or PEMAP. PEMAP plays a vital role in advancing the courier service industry, driving business efficiency, economic growth, job creation, and government revenue through reliable delivery services. Of course, we have here with us Ms. Alma Rias, the PEMAP President, and also Ruel Nico Rosemary to serve as the witness. Of course, we still have Yusik Mary Jean Pacheco, the Undersecretary for Supply Chain and Logistics Group. Ms. Rias is a seasoned executive with over 2 decades of experience across BPO, sports marketing, waste management, and logistics. As PEMAP President, she continues to champion industry growth and best practices. For her message of commitment, let us welcome Ms. Alma Rias.
Good afternoon, Secretary Kiko Benitez, Yusek Jean Pacheco. Good afternoon, everyone. The Private, Express, and Messengerial Association of the Philippines is more than just a collection of companies. It is a united voice bringing together the private, express, and messengerial service providers from across the nation. We are bound by a shared mission to uplift the standards of our industry, champion innovation, and advocate for policies that enable sustainable and inclusive growth. Aligned with this mission, PEMAP embraces the spirit of technical and vocational education and training. We believe that true progress is not measured only by the growth of industries, but by how many lives we uplift and how many opportunities we create. Through TVET, we see a future where every individual, regardless of background, can gain the skills, confidence, and purpose to build a brighter tomorrow. PEMAP is committed to being part of this journey by working hand in hand with partners in education, government, and industry. We aspire to open doors for lifelong learning, empower the workforce of today, and inspire the innovators of tomorrow. Together, let us transform potential into excellence and ideals into impact. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you very much, Ms. Alma, for your message. Again, may I request our DDGs to please join us on stage. And also, I would like to request the consultant from the DTI, Mr. Rene Bautista, and the other members of PEMAP who are here with us, kindly join us on stage, please. Again po, I would like to request Mr. Samuel Bautista from DTI to join us, please. With the signing done, our last mile delivery ITV is now officially in motion. Let us capture the moment with a group photo. Thank you very much. So as you can see, we began this day with a powerful vision. And now, we close with a renewed challenge. Having witnessed today historic launches, ayan po, I would like to request first our Yusek Jean. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. You may now go back to your seats. Ayan po, having witnessed today historic launches and partnerships, of course, he will now leave us with his reflections and a call to action to carry us forward. Mag-ready na po ako and mag-ready na po tayo. Mag-ready na rin po ang ating stage because once again, Let us welcome TESDA Director General, Honorable Secretary Jose Francisco Kiko Benitez for his message.
Thank you very much. Alam ko, it's been a long afternoon dahil sa dami ninyo. No? But I actually think that that's a good sign. I hope there is a call to action, no, that was given even earlier by those in the semiconductor and electronics industry. The first is really a challenge in terms of how do we as a country ensure that we do workforce development and training in as flexible, as agile a manner as is demanded by the changing world of work, due primarily to the fourth, now fifth, emerging into the sixth industrial revolution, particularly if in fact our systems and our ecosystem as a whole is still organized around the second, hindi pa nga umabot ng third industrial revolution. So there is a need to leapfrog, no, to ensure that what has constantly been called our demographic dividend does not in fact become a demographic liability. The World Bank has just come out with a recent growth and jobs report, which is very clear. The Philippines has missed the upper middle income economy status by around $30 per capita, and that this is something that's been expected for a while. Two things have dragged the Philippines down from its aspiration to becoming an upper middle income country. One is human capital investment, and two is greater productivity for our workforce. In both cases, it is workforce development of higher level skills that we need. The pressure to ensure that our pipeline of training increases in depth and in width, because the success of overseas Filipinos and the turnover rate of our highly skilled workers shows that in many ways our training is actually good. It's globally competitive. It's just that we don't put enough people through in the pipeline, in the industries and sectors that we need to give attention to. Today, obviously, we have industry sectors and the development of now 13 na ba, Nelly, recognized national industry boards. Ano lang aminin ko lang sa inyo, with recognition comes much responsibility. No? We are dependent upon you to ensure that we create the proper skills framework, that we create the right micro-credentials, that we create the right kind of ladderized curricula and training modules so that our workforce development pipeline is as wide and as deep as the aspiration of every Filipino. No? Kasi nandito si now private citizen, formerly USEC, FITA, no? Many of these initiatives were started in conjunction with, in fact, DTI when she was still in DTI and in charge of innovation and competitiveness as her portfolio. Workforce development needs to be the anchor and the base, or the pillar, however you want the metaphor, of workforce development and competitiveness. Hindi ho tayo magiging competitive kung hindi tayo mag-leapfrog through innovation. Hindi ho tayo magiging competitive kung hindi ho natin hahasain at hindi natin i-harness ang pwede nating tawaging tatak, no, ng malikhain, maaruga, at mapaglingap na Pinoy. Today has shown the range of concerns that TESDA and workforce development must address itself to. We have, of course, the creative industry sector, furniture design, fashion design, Carissa spoke of many others, no? Sa totoo lang, as a one of the principal authors of the Philippine Creative Industries Development Act, it was promised that the Philippines, now the leading creative services provider for ASEAN, will also become the leading creative goods exporter of the Philippines, ideally by 2030. For that to happen, we need to capacitate our workforce, we have to capacitate our MSMEs in order to fully capitalize on what is inherently a competitive advantage of Filipinos, namely our creativity, but also, because Attorney Ochave is here, our capacity to care, our capacity for affect, our capacity for pakikipagkapwa, our capacity for lingap, our capacity for aruga. Magkasama po lahat ang aruga, lingap, at likha, no? Pagkamalikhain ng Pilipino, dun po sa jurisdiction dati ni Yusek Fita. That's why it's nice to see her here today. At the same time, as we move to capacitating our workforce development to leapfrog in terms of addressing the 4th, 5th, 6th industrial revolution, government has also tried to ensure that we have an industry-driven, as I had said earlier, TVET ecosystem. Not only through our micro-credentials, not only through our industry boards that we need in order to develop the skills framework, in order to validate and affirm that these are in fact the skills that industry needs, no? But also through our enterprise-based education and training. Yusek, there is still money po in the budget of DDG Nelly for the rollout of micro-credentials, particularly if they are delivered by enterprises, no? So sana naman, as yourselves both linked to education institutions and industry or enterprises specifically, we can use the Industry TVET Board as a node for three things. The first is workforce development planning, including the skills framework, the qualifications framework, right, and the registration of proper micro-credentials across the three education agencies. The second, aside from workforce and roadmap planning, the second is really to help us push the delivery of these workforce development plans in all modalities, whether this is community-based, enterprise-based, or institution-based. And the third is to help us plan not just reactively for what industry needs now, but for what industry expects us to be in 3 to 5 years' time. No, sana naman yung ganong klaseng proactive, predictive, no, capacities of you as the experts, TESDA will come knocking on your door and hoping that the MOAs that we signed today truly have fruits that bloom after today's signing. Today is a first step, and we look forward to greater and more intensive collaboration with you as our national TVET, Industry TVET Board, no? Para ulit makahabol po ang Pilipinas at para po sa mas mabilis, no, na pag-unlad din ng bagong Pilipinas. Mabuhay po lahat na National Industry TVET Board partners at mabuhay po ang bagong Pilipinas.
Before I let go of you, Sec, pwede po ba mag-request? And since the industry is very important to us, I would like to request you po to stay a bit longer for a very short ITB huddle. So if our friends and our partners from the industry and the ITBs have questions po, you can raise your questions now.
May Q&A pala tayo. So, sagutin ko na, Yusek Jean, may pera pa si Nelly. So, parehistro na po kayo ng micro-credentials ninyo, lalong-lalo na kung enterprise-based ang delivery. Attorney Joey, as many pharmacies as you need that have pharmacy aid training that can be embedded, no, the better. And for the rest of the supply chain that you need. But any other questions?
If you have questions po, you may raise your hand or you can approach our mic para po, ito, we have this a bit of time and session po. Thank you very much for that, Secretary. Sino po yung...
Ma'am.
Ayan, meron po tayo. Si Ma'am.
Ms. Fernandez po.
Ma'am Fernandez. Yan.
Maraming salamat, Sir. Napakasipag po niyo talaga. And I'm very happy na nagkita po tayo ulit dito. Ito po ang tanong ko. Kami po ay mga furniture manufacturers. So yung mga miyembro namin from, kami SEIPI from Manila and the whole of Luzon and partly also sa Visayas. Meron din po kami Pampanga, the region of Pampanga. Meron din kami ng Cebu. Kaya lang hindi yata nakapag-aeroplano ngayon. Ano? So, unfortunately, pwede ko mabanggit sa inyo to, Sec. Before the pandemic, ang Philippines ay nasa mapa ng furniture exporters. 1 to 3 tayo. After the pandemic, or even before, before the pandemic, nawala ang Pilipinas. So last year, we had been attending some meetings with the ASEAN countries. We even went to High Point sa Amerika. We even went to Washington, D.C. para makipag-usap sa, kasama po namin si Ditay Secretary at si Secretary Go about the tariff. Ang hinihingi namin sa gobyerno ay bigyan lang sanang awareness sa buong mundo na nandirito pa rin ang Pilipinas na magagaling gumawa ng furniture. So sa aming portion, di pa po ito yung tanong ko, kinukwento ko pa lang po. So sa aming portion, titingnan namin, saan ba yung problema natin? So there were 2 causes ang nakita namin problema. Ang problema sa value chain niya, especially sa raw materials.
Okay.
Kaya nabanggit ko kanina sa inyo, Sec, tungkol doon sa bambu nga. Number 2, yung digitalization, yung technology, yung po mga bagay na yon. So ito lahat na ito, nangangailangan talaga ito ng pagtuturo.
Yes po.
Awareness, education, training, retraining, hanggang ma-delivery ang goods. So ito po ngayon ang tanong ko. Ang tanong ko po ay, after the signing of the MOA with the furniture industry at ang TESDA, ano po yung mabilisan na pwede niyong matulong?
Ito po, madali po yung masagot.
Ayan, salamat po.
Dalawa ho ang tanong ninyo, no? Yung isa is obviously digitalization. Kaakibat po ng EBET, sa totoo lang, ang upskilling. So, pwede po kayong magsabi sa kay Nelly, ayun ho siya, no? Kung ano hong klaseng upskilling ang kinakailangan ng inyong mga empleyado. Yun ho nating unahin, no? Ang empleyado ho ninyo, or ng mga members ng asosasyon ninyo, ano hong klaseng upskilling ang kanilang kailangan? Okay? Unang-una ho, yun yung pinakamadali. Okay. At kung depende po sa klase ng upskilling, hindi lang kailangan digital, no? Kahit ano hong klaseng upskilling, pwede po tayong gumawa ng isang micro-credential para po dun sa competency na kailangan ng kumpanya ninyo. Gaya ho ng sinabi ko, kung ang upskilling po ay mangyayari sa inyong mga kumpanya, sa inyong mga enterprise, ay may pera pa po ang TESDA. No? Between now and December, we still have funding for that purpose. No? Yung pangalawan, yung una ho ninyong tanong, medyo mas masalimot. Right? Because having to deal with the supply chain as a whole is not something, in fact, that TESDA has done previously. Right? The supply chain is cut up into skill sectoral value chains. So ngayon, part of what we're trying to do with our micro-credentials is to identify the kind of training that the entire supply chain needs. No, in your case, or kagaya na sinabi ko kanina, nandito ho si PTRI para po sa fiber, no? We need to make sure that the production and the processes of the raw materials all the way to designing and production and manufacturing and production can be completed as a supply chain. Each stage of that supply chain has a slightly different training or skills, no, that is required. Nandito po ang TESDA para pag-aralan at hanapan ho ng paraan sana. But again, dahil kayo po ang Industry TVET Board, pwede po kayong magsabi at mag-identify niyan sa amin. But I will confess that that takes a little bit longer. Pero bahagi po yan ng tinatawag naming Green TVET. Right? Because completing supply chains, particularly for manufacturing that in fact is organic in origin, fits into the circular economy initiatives of a greening, no, of our supply chain that TESDA is also producing training for. Pero I will confess, mas matagal po yan at mas mahabang proseso. Yeah? So yun po, ang sagot ko is initially, para po sa upskilling ng mga miyembro ninyo, pwede na po ngayon yan, no? Tulong-tulong ho tayong mag-identify kung ano yung pangangailangan at anong klaseng training ang pwedeng gawin. Ideally, a micro-credential ho natin, i-deliver natin sa kumpanya ninyo, no? Para meron pong funding pa si Nelly. Yung other piece, in terms of the entire supply chain, will take a little bit more work, but as Industry TVET boards, we depend on you also to help us identify what those gaps might be. So ma'am, meron pong industry board or ano bang tawag niyan, convener, si Nelly na ginagawa for bamboo, for example. But that goes for furniture, for the built environment, to fibers as well, no? Na hindi pa po namin nabubuo, pero binubuo pa lang.
Well noted po, Secretary. Secretary, may I be also allowed to mention you tomorrow because we have a meeting with Congress Lady Tolentino.
Of course.
This
Go ahead
is
and
about
mention
the
me
bamboo industry also.
to Aniela. Yeah.
Aniela, correct,
Yes,
Aniela,
please.
tomorrow.
Please
Maraming salamat po at mabuhay ang TESDA because of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fernandez.
Pahirap
From the
ng pahirap yung mga tanong. Si Attorney
Yes,
Joey.
Attorney Joey po, please come up po sa ating mic.
Akala ko, Attorney, may ambush interview ang
No,
media.
no,
Hindi
no.
pala, may ambush interview yung mga industry partners.
No, hindi ho. Magandang hapon po ulit. Actually, Mr. Secretary, tuwang-tuwa yung maraming umattend nung last week nung nakita kayong tatlo.
Yes po.
Yung kayong tatlo na magkakasama at talagang may chemistry. No? And so everyone is very hopeful that now may integrate natin lahat yan. Mr. Secretary, there's another agency which I think in terms of upskilling, you know, kasi nowadays po, pag pumunta tayo sa mga, lalo na sa ibang bansa, no, ang tinitingnan talaga certifications.
Yes po.
Hindi degrees.
Yes
no?
po.
And sa ngayon po, I think there's one particular agency that I hope we can also tap and you can reach out, which is yung PRC, Professional Regulations Commission. Ang dahilan po dyan, kasi bawat profession na lisensyado, meron tinatawag na continuing professional development.
Yes po.
So now what we want, and I speak from experience and from other, a lot of these CPDs actually are opportunities for us to upskill our workforce. Unfortunately, a lot of this also are just plain talkies and seminars, etc., and not focus on skills. Maybe TESDA can help. And this can also break the stigma about, tech pro or tech vocational, in saying that even those who have graduated, and a lot of our unemployed now are actually college graduates.
Yes.
And some of them are probably licensed.
Yes.
So if we can break it and focus and say, hey, even if you're a college graduate, even if you're licensed, you continue to need to be upskilled. And you don't get that. And you can get that, hitting two birds with one stone.
Yeah.
A certification coming from TESDA with respect to the skill, and at the same time, compliance with the CPD requirements of PRC. In this way po, hindi puro teorya yung sasabihin sa CPD, but we will really go into the relevant skills for the CPDs. Salamat po.
So, sir, I'll have 3 responses. The first is na-mention na kanina ni Mr. Ferrer that there is a new Administrative Order number 36. Administrative Order number 36 actually institutionalizes the collaboration between DepEd, TESDA, and CHED, but includes DMW, DOLE, and DepDev as part of its planning, workforce planning orientation. Within that, the second piece is, meron po kaming alignment meeting with PRC bukas, right? Because this is obviously a recurring issue, no? And continuing education units or continuing professional development is one of those things that is causing USEC-FITA headaches in the PQF, no? Because the PQF is now tasked to make sense of all those units and find what appropriate level they're supposed to be in terms of qualifications. So the PSF is a little easier because it's all about skills. So to the extent that we will ask you to help us flesh out the skills framework, you will all be, or all are now, part of a real transition in the ways in which we think of what training and education should be. As we shift towards a more lifelong learning orientation, we need to stop thinking in terms of qualifications and degrees per se. Not because they're not important, they are important, but be explicit of how we can foreground the competencies and the skills underneath which those qualifications are going to be held accountable for, right? So this is just to say that through the skills framework, through the micro-credentialing initiatives, and through the industry-driven design that EBET is supposed to do, and Industry TVET boards are supposed to help validate and create, no? We're trying to make sure that the ecosystem and the structures are as flexible as possible for lifelong learning. And if that happens, continuing education units for teachers, continuing professional development for all the professions needs to be put into the ambit. So, may alignment meeting po kami bukas with PRC. Kasama po sila sa PQF National Coordinating Council. And ito po ay isang landas na tatahakin at tinatahak ngayon, sa totoo lang, ni USEC-FITA.
Salamat po.
Thank you
And we're
very
looking
much.
forward
So,
to that.
ma'am, nadinig mo yung problema ha, malinaw. Mapapabilis ang trabaho. We're all trying to ensure that AI helps us generate courses, identify skills, identify competencies, and put them in a proper structure and framework or matrix, no, that we can all work with.
And thank you very much, Attorney Joey, for that challenging question. Pero syempre, game na game ang ating secretary. We have time for one more question. So if anyone would like to ask the question.
Diane.
Sige po. Yes, Miss Diane.
Thank you. Sec, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dayan Moreno Mimpin of Katha Pilipinas. Sir, one of our key tenets as a creative social enterprise is skills development in the creative industry. So these are business and behavioral tools for creative freelancers, hobbyists, and professionals. Now, in one of the recent programs that I was a part of, I wanted lang, since you are one of the authors of PSEDA, and I have a very personal stake on this to know your insights. There was a question that was raised in the UNCTAD program in Turin, Italy. It was Culture, Creative Economy Foresight course that I represented the Philippines for. And it was on upskilling and reskilling. And one of the key research questions, and again, I hope you indulge us with your perspective on this, is how do educational and government policies respond to the multidisciplinary nature of creatives and creative products in order to develop lifelong learning? Because I think in our industry, the creative industries, ito po yung pinaka-quite unique sa atin, na hindi ganon ka, the lines are blurred when it comes to what skills are we going to develop. So I think even with us as part of the Industry TVET Board, in order to identify what skills we would be focusing on, I think we have to acknowledge that multidisciplinary nature. So sir, I just want to get your insights on that.
The answer is it's difficult, right? We are in the middle of a series of discussions with actually the Design Center, right, around that very issue. Well, Design Center and NCCA, actually, right? The difficulty is the overlapping nature of the skills. So you can identify design components, manufacturing techniques, and then you can define entrepreneurship, for example, right? These are distinct phases of the supply chain, but also distinct types of skill sets. Yeah? So one of the things that we've been trying to do is to identify what kind of module or training, right, would you need in order to embed circularity principles, in order to embed design thinking, in order to embed cultural mapping, right, in any course of TESDA as needed, right? Because this can all be made part of an initiative, for example, that does localization, right? Localization in terms of material. So again, I can't help but because I'm seeing Dr. Julius, right? Natural dyes. We were just at a meeting this morning with Nelly on how to create a localization module for natural dyes that use local organic material, leaves, flowers, right, as the source of natural dyes. How do you take that as a micro-credential and embed it as part of a training for design, right? Or a training that has to do with the production process, you know, of fill-in-the-blank textile, for example. Diba? The same applies to furniture. The same applies to almost any industrial art. TESDA has been behind in converting industrial arts, which we inherited from DEX 30 years ago, and upgrading them so that it has value added in terms of localization, design value, innovation, and creativity. Right? So what we're trying to do is to create a kind of micro-credential that is stackable and bundleable so that each deliverer can start playing and curating, if you want, the kind of learning plan that they would have so that it is open to greater innovation. That's what we mean by flexibility and agility, and that the learner at the end can curate their own lifelong learning, whether it's for employment or a hobby, right? The gains are different if you can isolate in as small as you possibly can the skills and competencies as units, right, for the training modules. Yeah? That's the only thing we can think of at the moment. We are far from reaching that stage, but the infrastructure that we're trying to put together is meant to head into a direction of what TVET trainers call hutagogy, right? Where the individual adult learner primarily manages and curates their own lifelong learning, whether this is hands-on skills-based or computer AI tool-based, right? Or metacognitive in terms of design and creativity. Sorry, that's a long-winded answer to say we're not there yet, but we're trying to put the pieces to get there.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you, Ma'am Diane. And of course, thank you very much, Secretary Kiko. And before we finally close the program, again, I would like to ask you to stay on the stage and to our DDGs to please join the Secretary on the stage for one final photo opportunity with the principals of our MOA signing. So I would like to call our principal. We have, of course, Ma'am Carissa, Ma'am Celine, Attorney Joey, Ma'am Corazon, and Ma'am Alma to please join the secretaries and DDGs for one final photo opportunity to commemorate this occasion. Sige po, we'd like to request din po, Yusek Pita, Ma'am Diane, come on, Sir Julius, Director. Yusek Jean, come on, please join us for one final photo op po. This is indeed a very significant event. Alright everyone, let's do the K sign. Ayan po, kagaya po ng Mr. Photographer. Ayan, letter K po. Alright, thank you very much everyone. Again, thank you to our partners, to our new ITBs. Thank you very much to our DDGs, to our secretary. And alright, again, thank you very much po. As we are about to close this MOA signing, so guys, everyone po, before we finally close the program, I would like to request everyone to please settle down for a bit more. All right. I would like to request our DDGs to please occupy the seats po dito sa may front. To our DDGs, DDG Sards, and if done, DDG Nelly, we have DDG Gallo. Please occupy the seat at the front po of the stage. And thank you everyone again to our partners. And as we close today's ceremony, it is my honor, of course, to call the Executive Director of the Partnerships and Linkages Office, Ms. Floramel Joy Songsong, to deliver the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Gav. And I'll make this short and sweet because we've had a long afternoon. So to our partners, our newly established Industry TVET Boards, our long-time partners, the SEIPI, and our government agencies that have been working with us for a long time in meeting our mandates, we would just like to extend our appreciation for staying on and being with us in this journey. Thank you. Please expect more of pangungulit from our end because today's activity has proven that we can do more, we can accomplish more if we work together. And so at this point, we would like to thank all of you and please expect more of our pangungulit because here in TESDA, as you've heard again and again, no matter how daunting the task is, sa TESDA po, we believe na kung sama-sama, kayang-kaya. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon.
Thank you very much po, Ma'am Joy. And there you have it. Today's MOA signing is more than just a document. It's a commitment to collaboration, innovation, and progress. Thank you very much to our partners, of course, to Secretary, to the DDGs, to the Executive Directors and Regional Directors who are with us today. And before we close, we invite you to proceed to the back office at the basement where simple snack is prepared for you. This has been Gav Herrera from the Partnerships and Linkages Office. Maraming salamat po and mabuhay kayong lahat.